Guys, for today's video I decided to go over my household famous pumpkin pie recipe, which is also the easiest recipe you could pretty much ever have for any kind of baked good, I'm pretty sure. I've done cookies and cakes and things like that before, and there's really nothing easier than a pumpkin pie just because all your ingredients are very default size and work out very well. The way I do it is you buy a can of pumpkin puree from the store, which I use the ShopRite brand just because it's cheaper and it doesn't really taste any different because it's pumpkin puree, so it's mushed up pumpkin. A can of condensed milk, which is, again, I get the ShopRite brand because it's sugary, sweet milk, whatever. I don't think make it much of a difference if you use a better brand or anything like that. Then you add 2 eggs, and throw it in a pie tin. I use a pre-made graham cracker crust pie tin, which is, rather than using like the dough and stuff, the graham cracker crust is just a lot more forgiving in terms of cooking. You can really cook it as much as you want. You're not going to really burn a graham cracker crust. Also, I think it adds a lot of flavor to the actual pumpkin pie, as far as sweetness and all that goes, because I don't really add anything else to the pumpkin pie. I don't add cinnamon, I don't add pumpkin spice, I don't add nutmeg, I don't add anything to it. It's just pumpkin puree, condensed milk, and egg. So it's a little plain. So if you like something more sweet or more flavorful, add in one of the usual pumpkin pie things like cinnamon, nutmeg, sugar, or whatever. I don't think it's lacks any sweetness because the condensed milk is very sweet, and the graham cracker crust also makes it extra sweet. But it would probably be up to personal preference. The nice thing, like I was saying about the recipe, is that the cans for everything just work out very well. The ingredients of one can of pumpkin puree is, I think, 16 ounces, 15 ounces, something along those lines. A can of condensed milk is 14 ounces, I want to say, or maybe it's 12. I'm drawing a blank. It might be 12. But whatever the standard size is, all those standard sizes work perfectly to mix together with 2 eggs. And when you dump it into a pie crust, a normal 8 or 9 inch pie crust, it just fits perfectly. So you don't have to worry about measuring things out or doing anything like that. Then the biggest thing that I guess is a challenge for making a pumpkin pie is cooling it is a very big deal. You throw it in the oven for 350. That part's easy. Just let it sit in there for an hour, give or take, depending on how good your oven is. Should be closer to 45 minutes, but it takes my oven about an hour because it's old and beat up. Basically, your test to see if your pumpkin pie is actually cooked is you take a toothpick or something equivalent, you stab the middle of the pie all the way through, and if you can pull that out straight and there's no goop on whatever toothpick you put in there, it sounds a little weird explaining it on a video, but when you do it in person, you'll definitely notice the difference. When your pie's cooked in the middle, you'll stick the stick in there, you'll pull it out, and the hole that you made won't close back up because the goop won't refill it. And also nothing will be stuck to that stick. Then take it out of the oven, put it on a cooling rack, which if you don't have a cooling rack, fun little tidbit is you can take any extra tray thing from your oven, like the grates or racks or whatever, flip one of those upside down, put it on the counter and stick the pie on top of it. Works out just as well. Obviously be careful moving the pie out of the oven. The tin will be very hot. If you want to make sure you don't bend the pie in half, slide something flat underneath the pie as you're sliding it out of the oven, and then transfer it over to the cooling tin rather than just kind of picking it up with 2 hands and carrying it over. I learned that today. I didn't mess up my pie, but it did start to bend, so I had to be careful. And then what I was trying to get to is the most important part about the pumpkin pie is letting it set and cool off for a couple hours. I say give or take 2 hours, depending on room temp and how hot it was, all that kind of stuff. But if you give your pie about 2 hours to cool off, which I know sounds very long, but it just comes out a lot better when you're trying to cut it and all that if you let it cool off for a little bit. If you want to have a warm pumpkin pie, you can always stick it back in the microwave and heat it up for 10 seconds. It'll be just as good as it was out of the oven, pretty much heat-wise. But yeah, that's my pumpkin pie recipe. Very easy. By far the easiest recipe you could ever make for a baked good. If you ever, for some reason, felt like you had to make something fresh for some kind of party or whatever, pumpkin pie is definitely the way to go. You can get it done very, very easily with very little ingredients, very easy ingredients, all that. So yeah, gonna wrap the video up here. As always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in tomorrow's episode.